Is reading really that important? This is a thought I had in my very young years in life that I often think about to see where I am today. It's got irony in it, don't you think? Parts of, or maybe you may even consider most of my channels based on literacy itself. For me, writing out my own thoughts and feelings into a document and rehashing them out for the internet to look at and listen to also the most simplest thing of just reading something and retelling what I liked most about what I read, watched, gamed, whatever in between those lines are. It's very odd, right? Well, if I were to tell my younger self, hey, I enjoy reading a fair amount now, they probably wouldn't believe me. For what reasons, you may ask? Well, it kind of starts like this. In my younger years in school, here in the US, we call it elementary school, which is about 5 years old to 11 years old, depending on birthdays and other factors of sorts. I had a horrible time with reading and writing. And for some reason, no one really knew why, at least for a while. Was it because I didn't care? No, my grandparents made sure that I was always doing my homework when I got home from school. Was it because I didn't know English? No, even though I am a mixed kid, my grandparents are the ones who did most of the raising, and their primary language is English. So then what is it that was causing me such a hard time? Well, you see, during the time I was growing up, and mainly the area that I was growing up in as well, learning disabilities weren't something of the norm here at the time. And I think most people in my age group may agree to this statement, because as time moves on, like most things, technology and all that stuff out there, we kind of get more of a better understanding of factors and things that's going around us, or at least we hope we do. With my parents' consent, and as well as my grandparents, I was tested for some learning disabilities to see if that was the cause of my issues. And what would you know? I ended up having one of these issues, or learning disabilities. And I want you all to take a wild guess at what it was. Drum roll, please. It was dyslexia. It's probably not shocking if you have been with my channel for a while, or if you just follow me on Twitter, because it's very abundant that I am very stupid at times. Or even if you follow my Twitch streams at times as well, shameless plug, I slump over my words a lot. Looking back now too, it was clear as day that this was probably the glaring issue, and how no one really picked up on it is actually even more funny. I was spelling dog with a B, I would get the I's and J's mixed up a lot, and 2's and 4's looked very odd to me. And they still kind of do, and so on and so forth. I had an issue that I didn't know what it meant for me at the time, how it impacted me, what my limitations were, and so on and so forth. I just knew that it felt like people treated me different when it came to writing and reading. I understood what was being said, I got what I needed to write down, but the process of doing so was such a huge mountain, I didn't really know how to overcome it. And I didn't think most of my teachers did either, because again, looking back, especially during the time I was growing up, learning disabilities isn't as commonplace as they are today, in the sense we have a better understanding of them. Also, this isn't me bashing teachers at all, it's just kind of the fact of the matter, like I said, that at the time when I was tested for this stuff, I don't think they truly understood how to help me, because it was like one of those things in the world where it wasn't really studied that much on how to really help people with it. And teachers are like the fundamental backbone of society. Without them, society crumbles very easily, and they deserve all the praise and help that they can get whenever we can give it to them. And I'm pretty sure like my hardships was just as hard as on me as it was for them. Trying to help a kid who didn't understand his own problems, and you don't understand it either, I can only imagine what they went through. As elementary school kept going, I kept getting more frustrated with myself, that I started hating reading and writing, which sucked because I did enjoy books as a kid. They gave me an escape for a while, even though it was kind of hard at times to visualize certain aspects of it, but because it was so frustrating for me to do some basic level stuff, I just sort of gave up on just reading in general. That's till I found out about manga. One of the first anime I have ever seen and one of the first mangas I've ever read is Naruto. As a kid, it was so cool watching this stuff, a ninja with powers. That's amazing. The manga was easy to read because it had those pictures, and it helped me follow stuff if I misread something or I just so happened to misread a certain text. It made it very easy to follow the story and the plot. It was great. That was till I got picked on for having or reading manga books. So I stopped reading them, because it wasn't the cool thing to do at the time. And then unfortunately, this continued to middle school where I just sort of gave up on reading as a whole. I am about 95% sure I didn't complete a single book in those 2 years in middle school. That wasn't a part of an assignment or grade for me to do. Sure, I could blame it on being a young teen and probably going through puberty and other factors in my life that were contributing to this problem, but the way I see it, that's me taking the easy way out. I can't really blame everything on my past or what I was going through. I need accountability. And at the time, I just couldn't for the life of me put my head into a book. But at the same time, I didn't really care about reading at all because it didn't really mean anything to me at the time. It was just something that I had to do in order to get a grade, and that was my personal feeling on it. I do vividly remember, like, why do certain people actually enjoy reading? Like, what benefit does it give you? And it was kind of a weird feeling, or not really a weird feeling. It's kind of weird looking back on it now because, again, this kind of continued into high school as well for at least the first 2 years of it. I didn't read much, if any at all. I only read, again, for assignments and to get a grade. And I was frustrated. I hated that I had this problem. I hated that I was put in these small classrooms because it was believed that I couldn't keep up with the source material due to my dyslexia. It was believed that teachers were going too fast, so they just automatically put me here just so it could be slower. I was annoyed that it felt like people and teachers at times just thought I was dumb and couldn't do things because of my dyslexia. So they didn't even try to push me to be better. They just kind of gave up at times. It was like I was being given up on for no reason at all. And it got to a point where I was pretty much done and I disliked it all a ton. That was probably till almost the start of my 3rd year of high school. I went and got back into Naruto. And man, did I miss a lot. Once I started to really pick it up and started reading it again, I couldn't stop. Yeah, it took me a fair bit to actually get caught up to the current state of it, but I had such a blast doing it. It felt good to actually read this again. And it didn't bother me at all that I was struggling a bit. This continued into that summer where I would read the rest of Naruto to be caught up and dabbled in other mangas as well. I would go to the bookstore of all places, right, to use my money that I was getting from working to just purchase the physical manga books of Naruto just so I could have them because I loved it so much. And it was the first time in a very long time where I actually enjoyed reading. However, this didn't come with some downside to it as well because I had a horrible feeling of how much did I actually miss out on. Of course, that feeling is more better placed today because I've come to the understanding my backlog will never be completed and I'm not too hard on myself anymore about what happened in my past. I personally know what happened to me personally and I just have come to live with it and I can't let it hold me down forever. I just will not allow that to happen. However, of course, this isn't where the section ends, does it? Well, during my last year of school, I finally had a teacher that felt like she actually cared about these thoughts and feelings that I had, but not only me, everyone else that was in my situation. We all kind of carry these things. It felt like she truly wanted us to showcase what we could do and prove everyone wrong. And she wanted people in my position to do great and be great. And it felt very relieving, to be honest with you, that we had someone finally actually try their hardest to get us on the right path. The state that I lived in, we have exams at the end of the year that determine if you understand the level of education for that class. It's very similar to a final exam, except you are graded on a state level scale instead of a classroom level scale. I passed both my writing and reading exams without any issues. And I also passed my final exams as well without any problems as well. And as dumb as it may be, it's probably one of my proudest school moments that I've ever had because it felt like I finally proved a part of everyone who ever doubted me that I could do it. And it felt really good and rewarding. As I left high school and went to college, I would say I mainly read manga. And for the most part, this is true until recently. And I use recently really loosely because everyone has different definitions of recently when it comes to lifespans. So in case you do, about a year and a half ago, even though it's been a while since I've been in college, I started to get into actual books again. Also, this isn't me saying manga aren't books. I do believe that they are in their own way. Just that this has been such a long time since I've picked up an actual book without it needing to be done for some other reason or another. Like I'm actually picking up a book without anything attached to it. I'm doing it because I want to. And I did it for myself. And so far it has been a blast. Yes, it does take me a good while to actually complete a book. Heck, even chapters at a time feel like I spend double the amount of time I need to on them, but it's fun. The most recent book that I finished as the time of me recording this is the Project Hail Mary, which was just in time for its movie announcement. But keep this between you and I'm afraid of the movie coming out. You see, I really like sci-fi stuff. I love science in general, especially space. Space is so beautiful and so wonderful. I just love it all. But also science as well is just, it's so interesting. It always fascinates me every time I read something science related. But I fear the movie of the Project Hail Mary will pass on a lot of that science stuff that's inside the book. And some of that science stuff really makes Project Hail Mary really fun to read. It does hold your bit in explaining certain aspects of what is happening, but it leaves it to your imagination to try to piece it together, or at least you should research how these components work with alongside one another. But I'm also afraid that it will pass on some small important stuff that really make it a good book as well. And yes, I do know everyone always says, hey, the book is the best way to get the full experience when it comes to certain movies that are adapted from books. And I get that, and I just have a very gut feeling that this movie will cut out a lot just because it has a lot of science stuff in it. One of the other books I have read recently is One Dark Window, which I thought was okay. I do plan to read book 2 when I want to, because it wasn't bad, but it also wasn't very that good in my opinion. However, the main reason why I really want to read book 2 is because of the amazing magic system in that book. For me personally, I don't think I have read, played a game, or seen a magic system that kind of is like One Dark Window. It's so unique that I'm surprised no one's ever thought of it before. I've also been really getting into comic books as well. I've dabbled in them here and there through my years, but this time I've really been getting into them quite a lot. And again, it goes back to the books. It's just been a fun time getting into all this reading material. Reading has just been a very fun time for me recently. And even though I don't spend a huge amount of time into it that I probably should, I've enjoyed the time that I have been putting into it. There's just so many worlds out there that I want to explore and comics that I want to read that I feel like my mind has opened another dimension inside of it. And I would love to spread those thoughts and feelings here as well. More so on the comic aspect, because for me personally, I'm more of a visual person. I'm a visual learner for, pretty basic reason that I stated earlier. And even though I'm not the best with presenting that, I do feel it's the best way for me to showcase my thoughts and feelings that I want to get across. Books, on the other hand, may not come out on this channel because, again, I'm a visual person, and with books, well, being books, and me not knowing a single ounce of animation, it just doesn't seem possible at this particular time. I will never say never, however, just in the case there is a time that comes down the road where I have an opportunity to do so, but for now, it's just highly unlikely. And also, in case it ever comes up, I don't plan to do like real life thing with a book, showcasing it with my hands. That's just not gonna happen. This also kind of translates into, like, if you have any recommendations at all, please feel free to do so. I'm into fantasy and sci-fi the most. At this current time of recording, I am reading both Way of the Kings and The Spear That Cuts Through the Water. My favorite book that I have read as of right now is Project Hail Mary. Also, I would be into horror stuff alongside some fiction, history, or just history itself. Horror, because, well, I love torturing myself and I'm a masochist. And history, I just like history as well, just like sci-fi. I find history so rich that I just love it. I love learning history, whether it's real or not. Reading was something that I thought for a very long time that was just never going to be for me. And I did believe it for a good while. It felt like not knowing how to combat my dyslexia, or more so me understanding it, put such a damper on what I could do, because I just didn't get it. And it felt like others didn't get it as well. Learning how to deal with something like this is never easy. Even though we are living in an age where things are better understood than they've ever been, it's hard for people to truly grasp onto things like learning disabilities for many different reasons. For anyone who may come across this video and have issues with their own learning disabilities, please know you aren't alone in these feelings. Not everyone will understand the issues you may be having, even yourself may not understand it yourself. But don't get discouraged. Things like this take time. Look at me, for example. This is probably the best I've ever understood my limits with dyslexia. And even then, it still causes me a lot of problems. I need to reread things a lot. I sometimes say different words than what I'm thinking. These re-edits where I draft these documents to like rehash here take me so long to do at times because I just end up misreading what I wrote down. Or I actually miswrote what I wrote down instead of what I intended to do. I still have awful handwriting. I still spell dog with a B at times. It happens, trust me. Also, if other people are putting you down for these reasons, even if I know it's easy to say, Don't listen to them. Prove to yourself more than anyone that yes, you can do it. There are times even now in these videos where I leave my mess ups in because, well, that's who I am. I want everyone to see the real me and not some person behind this microphone or a mask. Also, another thing that's kind of easier said than done is don't be afraid to ask for help. It is hard to do at times, but we all need help every now and then. But don't be discouraged if people can't fully help you either. I've learned personally that a lot of my time trying to fully combat my dyslexia was me trying to self-teach myself how to really work alongside with it. And in doing so, I do take longer to complete reading portions and stuff like that, but it's for the better of me to fully grasp what I just read in case I misread something and do something completely wrong. And just something in general too, for anyone that may come across this video in the hopes of trying to get back into books, look into what you may want to read or try to find out what you like. It's okay to not like things till you find out what you truly like. Trust me, there's so many worlds out there, you're bound to find something that you enjoy. And like everything in life, things take time. Also, this is just something from little old me being worried about the future. It's also starting to seem that reading is slowly becoming something hard to grasp, or even reading comprehension. With technology moving the way it is, people are really relying more on it more than ever to be a brain for them. And it's truly something scary. I saw something about how people were using AI to sum up books and they considered that counting as reading because the AI technology just summed up the whole book for them to read. And that is, again, very scary, but at the same time, do you even hear yourself like talking that out? One, if something gets summarized to you and we count that as reading the whole thing, then I'm probably on pace to be one of the best readers in the world because I read a lot of summaries all over the place for products that I'm interested in, game summaries, the games I may want to try to play on stream, summaries of mangas, so on and so forth. I read a lot of summaries, and if we count those as reading a book, we are heading down the wrong path. Two, that takes everything, or at least an AI summarizing the book takes away everything in between those pages. Summaries in general, most summaries at least, highlight the key parts of a book to hook you in, to make you read the whole thing. It doesn't go over all the details, the characters that come and go, and everything else in between. It's odd, right? I used to think the future would be a place where we could live our lives to the fullest without any or very little amount of problems. But at times, it feels like we are moving backwards, slowly and slowly every day. This is the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please make sure to get some water, pause to check yourself, keep up the hard work, and remember, you're important. Please take care, and until the next video, I will see you all later.